Good evening and welcome to October's Rotary Membership Action Plan webinar, Attraction Action, Building Your Club with Innovative and Traditional Solutions. And now it is my honor to introduce the Scotty to our Captain Kirk on this Enterprise class ship known as the Membership Action Plan for Zone 33 and 34, George Robertson Burnett.
Thank you, Andy. It's a pleasure to be with you all tonight. And thank you for your continuing support of Zones 33 and 34's innovative MAP program and these webinars. Now, for those who are expecting the sartorial elegance of our director, Patrick Eakes, I'm sorry, he's not available tonight, and the bottom of the barrel was scraped, and here I am. Tonight, we will explore with two successful leaders how they used both innovation and traditional strategies to bring considerable success to their clubs. I highly recommend that you have a pen and paper ready for tonight's webinar, as it is full of great takeaways and usable ideas that have been proven to have worked. The format tonight is panel interview style, hosted by immediate past District Governor and Zone 34 Assistant Rotary Coordinator Don Harris from the Central Florida District. Don is also no stranger to membership success. He and his membership team in District 6980 have just completed a very successful year of growth and strengthening in that district. Please remember to submit your questions via the Q&A feature, and we will incorporate those towards the end of our time as per usual. Without further ado, over to you, Don. The stage is yours. Please introduce her to our panel guests so that they can share their success stories.
Thank you, George. It is my great pleasure to introduce our panelists tonight, Carrie Gray and Walter Page. Carrie is a 12-year Rotarian. She's the immediate past president of the Rotary Club of Wilmington, and she's presently serving as an area governor and innovative club advocate in her District 7630. Our other panelist, Walter Page, an 18-year Rotarian, is also serving his district this year, 6890, as area governor. He's also serving on his district membership committee, and he chairs his club's membership committee. As you mentioned, George, both Carrie and Walter have had tremendous results in growing their clubs last year, and they volunteered to share their stories with us today. Carrie, Walter, welcome this evening. Let's start with Carrie. Carrie, as president, share with us your results last year and what methods did you use to help attract new members?
Well, good evening, Don, and good evening, everyone. Thanks for having us. I've enjoyed getting to know all of you over this preparation period for tonight's session. So I was the past president of the Rotary Club of Wilmington, Delaware. We are a 110-year-old traditional club that, like many traditional clubs, had experienced significant decline in our membership in the last probably 5 to 10 years, even starting pre-pandemic. Our average attrition rate was about 29% over those years, and I'm pleased to say that in Rotary year 24, we reduced our attrition by 60%. We added 41 new members with a net gain of about 32 members, going from 124 members at the start of the year to 156 at the end of the year. We can attribute that success to three things, which we'll talk in more detail about as we go through tonight. But those were strategic planning, which began 2 years prior to my term as president, and then developing some new membership models, including an impact companion club. And lastly, developing focused marketing efforts that made it easy for our members to talk about Rotary membership to any prospective members.
Wow. Carrie, tremendous results. I look forward to drilling down with you in a few minutes on more of the how you accomplished that. Walter, you too combined some traditional and innovative methodology to engage your club. Would you share with us your results last year and how you began implementing your vision to enhance your club culture?
Sure, Don. Thank you, and welcome to everybody. And from Florida, we actually have no hurricanes planned this week, so we're in good shape. Our club began the year last year with 70 members. It was a 99-year club. We celebrate our 100th year this June coming up, and we added 26 new members last year. We started the year with a survey, knowing that we had to figure out what our members wanted and needed, and knowing our audience, we needed to figure out what we needed to improve, what we needed to start doing, stop doing. And we really stressed to the club that if we're not growing, we're dying. We were averaging just enough members each year to net zero growth. And so the club bought into the change needed. We know the definition of insanity is typically doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. But for us, we realized that insanity was doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same results, because we realized that we can't assume what we've always done will drive us forward. In fact, it may be an anchor holding us back. So with that, we needed some changes that when we did those small changes consistently, it drove results. We had to be willing to be uncomfortable. The club members understood that, and they knew that comfort is the enemy of progress. So everybody was on board, and our membership strategy to make our club irresistible had to do with three things: energy, passion, and fun. And we accomplished that based on three areas. First was we wanted our club members to feel loved, valued, and cared for, which helped drive attraction. We wanted the club experience to be so good that our members' spouses, children, guests, and programs would want to join. They may not know how to spell Rotary, but they knew something was going on that they wanted to be a part of. And as a result of that, 3 spouses and a member's child, 19-year-old, youngest member in 99-year history, joined our club. And the third was former members, reaching out to those that over the last 10, 20 years had for some reason left our club. We reached back out and said, hey, we miss you. Here's what's going on. Here's the excitement. Here's the impact we're having in our community, and invited them back. And 3 returned and rejoined, and one of them sponsored another person. So as a result, there's 7 members right there just from those 3 areas. So that was just the beginning.
Walter, congratulations on you two having a very successful year. We'll drill down with you too a little further. But switching back to Carrie, let's go a little more in depth. Carrie, can you tell us a little more of what your club did and how these strategies became part of your plan?
Sure. First, though, I want to say happy Rotiversary to Walter's club, because 100 years, that's super exciting. As a club that has reached that milestone, it's no small feat. So kudos to Walter and his club for 100 years. That's exciting.
Absolutely.
Okay, so what we did around strategic planning was we started with roundtable discussions with our members, and we asked them, why did you join Rotary? What keeps you, in Rotary? What do you love about being a Rotarian? But we also asked them, what do you think keeps your friends and colleagues from joining Rotary? We took that information, and then we had some roundtable discussions with a group of young professionals. That was our target market. We wanted to bring in some younger members. And we asked them, what's your impression of Rotary? And their impression wasn't great. It was, that Rotary skews a little bit older, that it's not incredibly diverse, that it's a little bit stale. It doesn't feel very energized and very exciting. And then we asked them what keeps them from coming. And they said the long meeting time, our meetings were from noon to 1:30, and the cost of Rotary, that those 2 things were really kind of barriers to them becoming a member. So we went back to our club and we talked about that. We talked with our board about some strategies. And so we made some changes to our meeting structure, the time and the duration. We started at noon instead of 12:10, and we end at 1 with another half an hour at the end for fellowship for our members. And then we also solved the money issue by creating our Impact Companion Club, which is a dues-only club. So there's no lunch fees that anybody has to pay as part of that companion club. This really changed the impression of our Rotary Club for a lot of people from a stale group. And then we added some new graphic design with our social media and a flyer for membership with a QR code to our online application. And we just really said, here are 3 types of membership: individual membership, which we always had; organizational membership, which we had always had but never really promoted well; and then our impact membership, which just very cleanly and clearly outlined those 3 membership levels. And we put that in the hands of our members and said, go forth and hit the streets and find some new Rotarians. And they did. They did a great job.
Carrie, that is great stuff. I love that your attraction actions included targeted focus group. Who thinks of that in Rotary? And then using a combination of new membership models and traditional marketing methodologies. That's great stuff. Outstanding.
Thanks.
Walter, you too. combine some innovative vision setting with your traditional tactics. Would you share those with us?
Sure, Don. And I will say, Carrie, I like the idea that you had of the different options for members, especially even with the different times, the different cost options. I think that's great. And the reason I love that is because I'm really good at stealing ideas. I love to steal other people's ideas, and everything I did, I just basically took from pets and people I talked with and made it work for our club. So I would tell you, if you're on this call tonight, you have my permission to steal anything we say. Take it, run with it. If it helps, great. One of the first things we did, Don, is we did dream building. And what that means is I would meet with current members and just basically go back to the why. Why did you join Rotary? What was the reason you got involved? What is your passion? How can Rotary help you? What would you like to get accomplished? And then I did the same thing with any prospects. And I would just tell them basically, if I had a magic wand and I can wave that wand and fix any problem in our community or in the world that you'd want to fix, what would that be? And it was really cool to see their eyes light up and talk about different things, everything from, mental health to certain problems in the community locally. And the cool thing is that no matter what they said, I could tell them with confidence, Rotary does that. And so they knew right away that they could have an impact. The second thing we did was we had monthly socials, and every month we would rotate either a whiskey wine tasting or we'd have a party with a purpose, which was a social at either a coffee shop or some type of venue. The venue would kick in money. We would have a cause or a charity that we would already have promoted for that event. And over the course of 4 or 5 months of having those parties with a purpose, we raised over $3,000 and a truckload of supplies for Habitat for Humanity, Meals on Wheels, and other local charities. But in the meantime, they saw that we were a lot of fun. We could bring friends, prospects, and the venue saw us as a group of people that really cared and were making a difference. The next thing we did is I started thinking about our meetings. We meet every week, as most clubs, and I thought we have 48 to 50 weeks where I can recognize a different Rotarian every week as my Rotarian of the week. And so now with the new members coming in, they got a chance to see some of the ones that were more seasoned veterans, those that have been around a while. And the older members, more tenured, could see some of the new people. We talked about everything from their most embarrassing moment to celebrity crush, made it fun, but it really resonated with them. Some of them hadn't been to a meeting in months, and they came, they brought their spouse. They really had a lot of fun with it, and they enjoyed getting that recognition. So that really went over well. We obviously had our communications out there between newsletters, emails, and at the beginning of each meeting, we had a slide up front. And on that slide, it would have all of the activities, the program, upcoming socials, our projects, fundraisers. So you couldn't walk in the room and have any doubt that we were involved. We got a lot going on, and that you could immediately see the activity and the energy. And that was really where it started with Don.
Walter, what's some great best practices for hopefully our attendees to steal, quote unquote, from you or take advantage of? And I love the innovation of the dream building and the magic wand. Outstanding. Carrie, you also deployed some tactics to meet potential members where they meet. Can you share with us those efforts?
Sure. So, and there's definitely some of those ideas of Walter's that I'm going to be stealing as well. So we knew that our impact members needed other options to gather than our Thursday lunch. So we added a second Tuesday coffee, and we added some happy hours into the mix as well. And that really helped folks with some options, right, in terms of when they could come to meet other members and to get connected to Rotary. We also actively prospected for new members from various lists in the community. So, for example, our Chamber of Commerce. We also have a publication that comes out called the Book of Lists, which lists all the major employers in the state. And as the largest club in the city, and the largest club in the city of Wilmington, and the original City of Wilmington Rotary Club, we really feel like employer representation is really important. So we wanted to look at which employers were not members of our Rotary and figure out how we could approach them about membership. We also really wanted to make sure that our club members were out there talking about Rotary. And so when new members joined, we asked them to share a little bit with the club about why they joined Rotary. So that gave our members some ideas about how they could go out and pitch Rotary membership to other people. And then we also continued a free lunch program that we piloted in the year prior to my term as president And we've continued that now ongoing into this current year as well. Where basically we said to our members, if you have a potential member who you think would be a good Rotarian and the lunch fee is keeping you from inviting them, don't let that be a barrier. Bring them to Rotary, let them experience Rotary, and we'll evaluate quarterly if that's working, if we're getting members from that process, and also if we can still afford to do it as a club. And so far it's worked really well, and we're garnering new members as a result. And then the other thing we're doing is using our social media really well. We have standard graphics for introductions of new members, featuring our speaker of the week. We're obviously promoting all of our service that we're doing. So that's really helped us kind of button up our look and feel a little bit more professional as a club. And I think that's really helped.
Thank you, Carrie. There's some great traditional best practices that you're not picking a few. You're doing a lot of them. Doing a lot of them. That's outstanding. Well, Walter, you also did some things to help your present Rotarians and your new Rotarians better understand the value of Rotary. Would you share those initiatives with us?
Yeah, sure, Don. So one of the things we started asking people, and I asked all my board members this, and they would rotate each month in sharing the answer is, why do you love Rotary? What is it about our club and Rotary that you love? And it was really cool to hear them restate and redefine what it was that they loved. And it really had a difference and an impact, made a difference on the other members. But the other thing we did in the board is we had enough board members so that every month a different board member would be on this particular call, the MAP call every month. And they would report back to the board what they learned and how our club can benefit from the information. So they realized very quickly that membership growth was not my job as the president. It wasn't the membership chair's job. It was all of our job. And so they bought in, they all got to work, and they got excited. Because of that, we wanted to make sure that anybody that comes in our club was going to feel welcome, and and our club would be attractive to them. They would see a group of people they wanted to be a part of. We knew that our club is not cheap. It costs money, it costs time, but we stress that cost only matters in the absence of value. And so we wanted to make sure our club provided value, that the people felt like the time and the money they spent was worth it because they were part of a growing, exciting group of people that were like-minded and they were making an impact. And that's really what built that momentum that is carried into this year.
Wow, Walter, thank you. I think everyone can understand how you and Carrie both are changing the culture in your clubs to cultures of attraction, and building a great club experience. You know, there's something wonderful about reminding our Rotarians about the value of Rotary so that not only they appreciate it, but they can articulate the value to prospective Rotarians. So that really helps gain membership. Well, let's swing back to Carrie. Do you have any other thoughts or final thoughts you'd like to share, Carrie?
Yeah, and I'd just love to say that I love Walter's idea of asking people why they love Rotary, because I love Rotary and I love telling people why I love Rotary. And sometimes just asking people that question can bring up a lot of great reasons why somebody else should be a Rotarian. So kudos to you for thinking of that, Walter. So I think just a couple of final things that have led to the success of our club in the last few years and changing kind of course for us as a club. First was continuity of leadership. We have the triumvirate of presidents, as we call it, our tri-presidents meeting every month. And so when I was president, it was the president-elect who was going to follow me and the past president who we all sat together. And then in December, when the president nominee was identified, the past president rolled off and the president nominee rolled in. And so there was almost, 3 years basically of continuity of leadership and conversation with that group that really helped, I think, it helped me during, the time that I was president, but it also helps as we continue on, right? And so that succession planning is really important, not only at that level, but also at the committee level. And I think our current president, Lynn Jones, is doing a great job of really making sure that he has not only a chair for every committee, but a co-chair who will then become the chair when Mike Stamen, who's our president-elect, becomes president. So we're really trying to be very thoughtful about that succession so that we have continuity of these efforts. And then lastly, our Impact Club. That process of starting a companion club was a little bit like building a plane as we were flying it, to be honest. I mean, we didn't have it all figured out when we said we were going to do it. And I really would encourage any club that's thinking about a companion or a satellite club not to let perfection stop you from starting, right? Just start, because I think, that's the most important part, is making sure that you get it off the ground. And just encourage your members to be patient with you. But we're trying to be a lot more intentional now about the integration of that companion club with our home club, and making sure that there is that communication that's happening, and that those members know and feel that they are Rotarians and that they are part of Rotary, and part of the Rotary Club of Wilmington in particular. So those are just some final thoughts about our experience in the last couple of years and how that's worked.
Thank you, Carrie. We can feel your passion. Thank you. Walter, how about you? Did any key points we might have missed?
There's a few, and I will say one of the things that you said, Carrie, that I just love is the continuity of leadership. And that's something that we started a year and a half ago before I became president. And I think that's critical because people follow good leadership. And when in fact, our current president has just taken everything we started for the last 18 months and he's just running with it. It's just getting better. In fact, we've already inducted 12 members this year. So we're on pace to exceed last year, which is what I wanted to see. I don't want to see 1 year's results. I want to see momentum and sustained growth. And that's what happens when you get a lot of people excited and they bought into the plan and the process. I would also say that one of our members who's been, I think, a member of the club 25 plus years, he sponsored 4 members last year, and we had 14 different members that sponsored new members. So it wasn't just 1 or 2 people. It was widespread, and it was everybody pitching in, and that's where great things happen.
I love it. I love it. It's I hope you all were taking notes because we covered a lot of ground this evening. But if I may, I'll just try to summarize. It's very difficult to summarize a few tidbits, but what some great quotes we have, what a great few takeaways. But not surprisingly, being part of this Membership Action Plan webinar, your planning is so important. As you heard Walter say, he started 6 months before his term. Carrie's going back 2 years. And the important thing as you're planning is engage your club members, not only your club members, but you hear Carrie getting innovative and creating a focus group to engage prospective members. But if you really want to see Rotarians get engaged, make sure they can see that you're using their input. You've got to actually make the changes that have been suggested and take it to them. And creating the vision is so important. You heard both Walter and Carrie talk about how as they had a plan, they had a goal, and they got everybody in agreement with that goal. Love the dream building, the round tables, what great ways to sit down and interview and get feedback from your current rotations to help build that culture of attraction. And as we just wrapped up a little bit talking about why are we Rotarians? Remind Rotarians about what they love, and that will help us remember what we can take out to our community. Through it all, as Walter said, the definition of sanity, don't be afraid of change. Be innovative. Implement these traditional best practices, new club models, alternative membership styles. It all makes for a great club experience. And we've got to remember, as Jennifer really stressed in her year, we've got to tell our story. And, Carrie put some great marketing tools in the hands of her members to help them, better be able to tell the story. So use our social media, use all of our tools. So Walter, Carrie, thank you so very much. What great things you're doing. And it's great to hear your clubs are growing well this year, and now you're helping at the district level. I think, Mary, we've had a few questions. I see lots of hands flying by on the screen. Can you help us with any questions from our attendees today?
Absolutely. Thank you, Don, Carrie, and Walter. So you have all heard from 2 successful leaders that attraction action requires a mix of innovative solutions and tested traditional strategies to create more irresistible clubs. So let's look at some of these questions that you've submitted. So first one, have you ever rejected a prospective member and why? So Carrie, I'll let you take that one first, and we'll hear from you on that too, Walter. Have you ever rejected a prospective member?
Not that I can recollect during the time that I was president, or in recent knowledge that I know of, but we've done a really good job of making sure that we are sourcing highly qualified candidates, right? So even the people that come to us just because they find us on the internet, we take the time to get to know them before we have them put in their application or their proposal, to become a member. So, um, we talk to them about what Rotary is about and what the expectations are, and how they can be an engaged Rotarian, and just really also ask them, why do you want to be a Rotarian? What is it that you know about Rotary that appeals to you? So we do a really good job of making sure that we are making sure that Rotary is the right match for any potential members.
Okay, great. Walter, how about your club?
Well, I would say in 99 years, there's probably at least one that I'm not aware of that we've probably rejected, but not recently. And I think it's for the same reasons Carrie pointed out. The board and the members vet pretty fully and pretty efficiently and effectively those prospective members. They know why they're joining. They're recommended and referred by competent, good Rotarians. And so they come in knowing what to expect. Usually they'll have at least attended one or two meetings and or a service project. So we've already seen them in action. They've seen us in action, and they know that they've got to be a good fit for us and we have to be a good fit for them. And so at that point we move forward. And I'd like to say that everybody that joins stays, but that's not the case. But all we can do is work on our attrition and attract as many as we can.
Thank you. So in conjunction with that, Walter, you mentioned that you had a 19-year-old join the club, which probably for many Rotary clubs is a bit younger than normal.
Sure.
So how did you look at the qualifications of that person in terms of meeting the qualifications to be a Rotarian?
Yeah, it's a great question. So out of our 26 new members, 12 of those were women, including this 19-year-old. And I first of all, I looked at her mother, who's a member of our club and a leader. And I look at any responsible young adult, and typically you see leadership from the parents or some leadership in their life. And that was apparent. It was very obvious that, and then she'd been involved in leadership in high school. She was a leader among her peers. And so we were able to see her in action. She had been a part of our club. She'd been in all of our activities. She already seemed like and felt like a member before we inducted her. So yes, she met the criteria. She got involved right away, and she's being treated like any other Rotarian, only she's a bit younger.
So. That's great. Thank you. So Carrie, tell us, with the companion members, how did you keep up with the communication and keeping those members engaged?
Sure. So the companion club members, our impact members, they receive all the same communication that our home club members do. So as a large club and as a very traditional, club that's been around a long time, we have the benefit of having a part-time administrator, which I know not every club has, but she has been really wonderful in helping, make sure that these members are feeling like they are getting all the communication that they need and that they have all the touch points that they need. So we have that weekly newsletter. We also have special emails that the leader of our companion club will send out to our impact members to say, there's a service project coming up. We need some volunteers. Is anyone interested? So, so that's been helpful. And then we have a Facebook page and a LinkedIn page for our club as well. So we've, encouraged them as they join to make sure that they get onto those and follow those for updates as well. So, but mostly it's been email. And then we also, at the end of June, in the last couple of weeks of June, we made a targeted effort to pick up the phone and call every one of our impact members to talk to them about, what their experience had been in the 6 or 8 months since we had formed the club and they had joined, and to ask them, how can we best keep in touch with you and make sure that you're getting all the communication that you need.
Oh, that's so important. Good follow-up.
Mm-hmm.
Walter, do you have more than one member in any particular business or organization type? For instance, you know, do you have multiple people in manufacturing or education, or how does your classification work?
You know what? It's a great question, Mary. And we actually have looked at the classifications and we've identified a few that some segments in our community that are not represented. Although 5 of the 6 city commissioners and the city manager are part of our club. So there's the word's out. I mean, we're not the best kept secret anymore, but I will say it was pretty apparent to me a few weeks ago when we had a networking event that we had like 7 or 8 realtors from our club show up. So the answer is yes. We have multiple realtors, we have multiple bankers, we have multiple advisors, but we know that everything's based on relationships. And so we know that people join for one of 3 reasons, either fellowship, networking, or a greater purpose and service, or a combination of those 3. So we don't see that as a hindrance. We say the more the merrier, and people are going to do business with people they know, like, and trust anyway. So we just want them to come on board, link arms with us, and let's get some work done.
Great. So, Carrie, how do y'all approach the local companies or corporations about membership?
So we talk about all 3 types of our membership, but oftentimes we do focus on the organizational membership because that allows for a company to have 4 employees share a membership. And I won't go into great detail about that, but if anyone's interested, I'm happy to share that information. But basically, we say to them, we know that it's hard for you to have one employee who's every Thursday out at lunch for a lunch meeting, or it's difficult for them from a scheduling perspective to be able to commit to that. We also know that, you know, your company probably wants to have as much involvement in the community as you can, that you want to provide leadership opportunities to employees that you see as future leaders in the company, and Rotary can be that opportunity. And so we really position it that way. And it's really worked well for us to be able to do that. And I think we had 7 new organizations join Rotary with up to 4 members sharing their membership. They're all Rotarians. Everyone's in our DAC-DB as an individual member. But the way the math works for us, I can explain to anybody that's interested in terms of how we do that.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, Walter and Carrie, but Walter, you answer this one first. You have an impact club?
We do not. When we grow up, we want to be like Carrie's club, but we're not there yet.
Okay. So Carrie, for your impact club,
Mm-hmm.
is there a specific focus for it?
So, yeah, it's a service focus. So we talk to folks about the fact that we want our impact members to be focused on doing community service projects, and those can be small scale or large scale, and that their opportunity as an impact member is to work with other impact members as well as home club members on bringing those ideas to the club and saying, can we do this? And so it's been really, you know, wonderful to see that we've been able to have more, no pun intended, an impact in the community as possible because of the fact that we created our Impact Companion Club.
Okay. And so does your Impact Companion Club have a separate board structure? How are they organized?
It does not have a separate board structure. Because of the chartering process with Rotary International, we did have to identify a president and I believe a secretary when we chartered the club. But now that it's up and running, we just have one person who serves as the chair of our companion club. They sit on the board as an ex officio member. The club can have committees if they'd like to, but all of our impact members seem to be joining the home club committees, which is fine. So again, we're still kind of building the plane as we're flying it here, but it's working well. And so there haven't been any major hiccups so far.
Well, it's great to see that the plane is still in the air.
Yes.
Walter, what kind of outreach details do you suggest when approaching corporations as members or providers of members?
Well, we don't have corporate members, but I can tell you when we're talking to a business or a business owner, it goes back to knowing your audience. I mean, what matters to them? And in most cases, they care about their brand, they care about their image, they care about their impact in the community. And so when they see Rotary as being a way to help them accomplish that, very often they're willing to be a part and send somebody to represent them. And we've never had anybody yet that says, no, I don't want to be a part of what you're doing. So I would say that's the easy answer, but again, we don't have corporate members, so I'd like to explore that more.
Okay, great. So we have had great conversation tonight. Thank you, Don and Walter and Carrie. We're going to leave you with an opportunity to give us some feedback. So we have a poll that we're going to launch here with 2 questions, and we really would appreciate your input so that just like Carrie and Walter have been doing and understanding what their members want and need, we want to understand what you want and need. So if you would please answer our poll questions tonight so that we can better serve you, we would appreciate it. Andy, can you wrap us up with some key information on the upcoming events while our poll is launched?
Yes, Mary, absolutely. Thank you for that, Mary. And thank you, Carrie, Walter, and Don, for sharing your actions that your clubs took to grow membership. If you've missed any part of this webinar, you can watch by going to rizones33-34.org/membership-action-plan. You can find all of previous episodes there. And before departing this evening, as Mary mentioned, we're launching a 2-question poll. You should see that on your screen now that we would like you to answer before you leave. Thank you for taking a couple of minutes to answer. There's 2 questions there. The first, what has been useful to take from tonight's ideas shared? And second, what topic would be valuable to you for us to address in the future? The next MAP webinar will focus on engagement and new member orientation, and that will be on Monday, November the 11th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time. You can register using the link in the chat. You can also register on DACDB. So take a few minutes to fill out the poll question, and we will see you on Monday, November the 11th at 5:30 p.m. Eastern.